In times like these, we often turn to community leaders to make sense of what's going on and offer solutions on how to restore peace and calm. Once again, we turn to Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, who has seen firsthand just how damaging and dangerous the past couple of days have been. Eric, welcome back to Chasing News. First of all, let's start right off the bat. What have you seen?
Just a real loud outcry on two levels. One, a righteous concern about police interactions and really the murder of George Floyd. And you think that it's an isolated incident, but it's not. It's more than that. And I have really witnessed young people attempt to voice their concerns throughout the borough of Brooklyn and throughout this nation. But on the other end, I have witnessed professional agitators. They are well trained. They know how to use incendiary devices, how to resupply themselves with stones and bricks. I think they are attempting to hijack a righteous movement. And we want to be clear that we're not going to allow our city to be burnt down. We want our young people to have their voice. We want to do it in a manner that I came from, and that's a manner of using nonviolence protests to get your point across.
Eric, I want to just get your perspective too on the NYPD being able to handle all the violence and everything happening.
I believe that we have one of the largest and well-trained police departments in the country, if not the entire globe. It's unfortunate that what we are seeing, though, is a mixture of officers who are really prepared to interact in a high stressful environment with a number of officers that are really not suitable to be on the front line. Those individuals should be removed not only from the street, but they should be removed from the department.
Does the NYPD need to get a little tougher in some situations?
No, the goal of a police department is to be defensive, not offensive. If someone has their hands up, you pull down their mask and you spray them with mace in their face. After whatever incident they did, no matter what it is, they were in a position of surrender. Once a person is in a position of surrender or passively resistant, you are not to take an offensive action. You are to subdue, apprehend, and place in custody, not to prosecute on the street.
Okay. Eric, always good to talk to you. Thank you. All right, let's get right into the opinion zone. Our panelists, Afia Yunus, immigration attorney, and Republican strategist Allison Young. Allison, where you are in Philadelphia, you've been close to some of the violence and rioting there. First, let me ask your opinion of how Eric Adams is addressing it.
I think he's right about the extremely tough position cops are in, especially when they're not well trained. I think in cities across America, we saw this weekend where some cops were behaving in a way that actually de-escalated very powerful statements, and some were aggressive and not knowing what to do. There's a lot of it that's about training, but there's a lot of it that's about what these professional trained agitators are doing.
All right, Afia, let me turn to you with a different question. Governor Cuomo was agitated in his earlier remarks, talking about how the protests and the mass gatherings could set us back from the progress made on stopping the virus spread. What are your thoughts on that?
It is his job as a leader to bring attention to the fact that we're still fighting a pandemic. However, there's another pandemic, which is institutionalized racism. And so people's lives are at risk. We're seeing people get murdered by police officers in broad daylight. And so if you're going to tell someone, look, focus on this one problem, they're going to say, well, there's this other issue too.
It's just not fair to say every cop is bad because we've seen some. This just happens to be the national spotlight right now. And Avia's right that there is institutional racism out there, but we can't call out every single cop in this country and say there's a racist. That's dangerous rhetoric.
Okay. Thank you, guys.